Very well played.
All right, so we are going to get into it now. Cloud9 on the left to kick things off in this best of 3. Fnatic on the right there. Orianna instantly banned there from Cloud9. And Mundo as well. We've seen quite a bit of him this weekend.
Yeah, you know, he's 100% pick ban. I expect also Shyvana probably to either be picked or banned in this matchup. Kassadin has not made an appearance yet, though, so they might actually leave that one up. Ziggs has, you know, been one of the mid laners that's created a lot of controversy so far here.
I mean, he's been doing very well, and Fnatic are kind of mulling over this last ban here. Sivir and Ziggs hit the ban there for Cloud9. Riven as well from Fnatic is kind of interesting. And
this is interesting. You know, they're like kind of daring them. Are you going to leave Kassadin up here? Because Hai does play Kassadin as well, but as everybody knows, it has a slow early game. And Cloud9 usually like to have a very quick early game.
Well, he's not going to get banned, and instantly
it is.
picked for Cloud9.
All right.
At least the last ban there for Fnatic.
So that was obviously the bait that I was talking about. They were daring them to let C9 have Kassadin because they instantly locked it in. That was like 1 second for locking that in. They were expecting Fnatic actually to let that one through, and they didn't want to give it back to them.
And it's funny because we've talked a lot about bottom lanes already moving into this match and how Reckless is such a key part of this squad. I was going to say, oh, that doesn't surprise me, with Lucian here and Renekton coming in as well.
So Renekton, bully top laner. This already shows that right off the bat, Fnatic are going for very strong lanes. If all of your lanes are lane bullies, then it makes it very easy for your jungler to make plays as well, because he can go for invades, he can make the calls to go for these objectives, because all of his lanes are going to be pushing up here. Renekton, Rain Bullies, same thing with Lucian.
And we've got Leona and Shyvana, the picks there for Cloud9, and I don't recall seeing Meteos on Shyvana, but we may have played it.
Oh yeah.
It could go into the top lane, but in terms of farming junglers, Shyvana seems like a Meteos sort of champion.
I have had the privilege of seeing Meteos on Shyvana in solo queue. It fits his playstyle. He loves farming. It's a very hard farm champion, but it's also amazing in the top lane. And everybody's been wondering what will Balls play post-Rumble, because we're not expecting him to pull it out in this game. And that could very well be Balls as well. So still a little bit of variance could come out here from the switches.
Yeah, and Thresh in here as well is going to be the pickup for Fnatic. And completing that dual lane, something I like, especially because they're both ranged, because we may have a lane swap coming out here as well to try and punish this Kassadin.
Yeah, one thing you want on your supports nowadays is definitely a stun. There's very few supports that people are choosing that don't have stuns, like maybe Karma because she has the giant speed up, but Thresh and Leona have been extremely popular here. Thresh does have the ability to counter Leona's engage with his Flay, but as we've seen Crepo, he's able to get around it with a flash into the stun and the long range on his ultimate. It's not a very hard counter. It's just more of a soft counter.
Yeah, and that's an instant pick up there as well to move things out. Draven and Vi are going to complete the Cloud9 lineup. They're picking quickly here, Kobe. They've done some homework.
So Cloud9 talked about in the interview, yes, we've expanded our champion pool. We're going to show you guys some new stuff. This right here is new for Cloud9. Draven, a lot of people were hesitant to go back to him after the changes to his passive because it took a lot of damage off of his early game. But the new passive does get him a gold much quicker if he does land a kill, and he still has that amazing attack steroid that comes with the axes and the attack speed increase. So there are a lot of, you know, random YouTube videos going around of Draven like two-shotting people because in the end game, he still gets extremely strong just with pure AD.
And for me, there's so much aggression in the bottom lane now, Kobe, as well.
Oh, yeah.
The Draven just seems like such a good fit. I mean, Annie has been seeing a ton of play here. Actually going to drop through here, interestingly enough, at least for now.
Yeah.
But when you think about Leona, who's just can actually out-aggress Annie, it almost feels like Draven as an AD out-aggresses all the other AD carries. This is against Lucian. That guy's really, really strong. But Karma is the last pick here for Fnatic.
This is a champion that Soaz has played a lot of, but Peke also has dabbled in some Karma. So I'm still expecting the Renekton top. They could do some fancy switches and switch him over. But yeah, it is looking so far like it will be that teleport Karma. And like I said before, Peke, he hasn't had to rely on teleport for a long time to win his lane. He usually just does, at least goes even in lane phase, and then he's got this late game summoner that is teleport, which allows him to make the map movements that really have defined Fnatic's playstyle over the years.
Yeah, and I like the combination with Olaf here as well for Fnatic, because we saw the super speed comp yesterday, which was Sivir, Olaf, and oh my goodness, Sivir, Olaf, and Karma. Sorry. And now we've got kind of the mini combo here as well with Karma plus Olaf.
So they have the Karma to speed up the Renekton. As I was just talking about, you know, how Peke always takes teleport. They've actually switched it off, and they've got a few more seconds there. They lock it in. Peke will be the one using that Renekton, and it is going to be the SOAS Karma. So this time, it will be Cloud9 with the ones that have teleport, and them making to look the plays here with the roaming Kassadin, having Kassadin try and come in, maybe bottom lane or something for those early kills to get him rolling. And it's Fnatic that are looking like, we have the team fight, we have the speed up for our bruiser, and they're going to be looking for the dragon control and the objective 5v5 fighting.
Yeah, I have to say, just generally what we're seeing here, Kobe from Cloud9, looks nice. It's kind of refreshing to see them open up a little more here. I mean, Fnatic as well would have had to have a plan for this Kassadin, so I'm hoping we get some interesting stuff happening.
Well, the plan is Renekton. Apparently, it's looking like Peke going to go up there early. I mean, you can do a 2-versus-1 switch against Kassadin, but it's not actually necessary to keep him down early. Most champions can beat Kassadin very early in CS anyway and keep him down pretty significantly. So you don't have to expend all those resources to do it.
All right, so we are going to get into it here. A best of 3 here, the last game in the Battle of the Atlantic. It's Cloud9 versus Fnatic, and we have yet to see these teams play on this patch yet, Kobe, and it's going to be really exciting to see not just how they play against each other, but how they play on the preseason patch here as well. I
want to see how Cloud9 use this teleport, because SOAS has picked up the slack there. Since Peke has decided to go Ignite this time around, SOAS is the one with teleport, so they will at least be able to answer that global pressure later.
And level 1's going to be a little interesting here. Both teams probably just hanging out, seeing if they can get any early wards down, although no extra wards being picked up here. Both support's going to go for some big items here. Doran's plus, I guess, the early Relic Shield.
Yeah, support's going for some beefy items as well as some beefy masteries. I was really caught off guard yesterday when I saw the shield mastery deep in the defense tree for the first time. Maybe I was a little bit too harsh, but it looks like Yellowstar is also going extremely deep in that defense tree and picking up the mastery.
Yeah, so it looks like Fnatic just scouting out here, not particularly interested in finding a fight. If they could get a kill, sure, that's great, but everyone's going to back off here. And again, I'm curious to see how the lanes shake out, but I think you're right, Kobe. They're going to be pretty normal here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that we just talked about, how beefy the supports are. They did an early invade, but since both of them started with these health items, they didn't have enough money for extra wards. So this successful sort of invade from Fnatic doesn't reward them any vision for the early game because they didn't drop any of their wards off while they were deep.
Yeah, Trinket's not quite up there either, unfortunately, and they only last a minute anyway at the early stages, so not going to get too much done here. Hai will send himself in the middle lane, and you were right, Kobe. It's Peke's Renekton against the champion he has played an awful lot of in Kassadin.
Renekton already is a lane bully, but going up against Kassadin should be pretty easy work for him. You just want to charge up the Fury for him, and then the empowered abilities. Just the threat of being able to use that is usually enough to scare people out of the lane. Now, Balls was expecting the duo bottom. You can see by him starting over by those wraiths and then leaving them, he had to go check the red, and it looks like they got caught up maybe a little bit off guard by the switch from Fnatic. It's sort of that Australian meta you were talking about yesterday.
Like the standard meta, but upside down for anyone who missed it. But Balls and SOA is going to go 1v1 down towards the bottom, and we're going to have 4 people up towards the top. And this is a lot of what we expect today, Kobe, or just in general with the dual lanes. Lots of aggressive 2v2s and all-inning happening.
Yeah, the top lane now that does have the duo is going to be really exciting because both Thresh and Leona have the potential to start off a fight whenever they want it. So as soon as one of the junglers makes their way up there, a gank is probably unavoidable.
You can see Hai there taking a big chunk of damage there. I mean, Kassadin's kind of just got to sit here and take it. They're both melee champions here. I mean, Kassadin has the benefit of a little bit of range on some of his abilities, but every time he walks towards a creep wave, he's pretty much going to take a massive chunk.
Now, the thing is, since this is a very short mid lane here, if, Peke is constantly going aggressive, and like you pointed out, his melee, okay, so they're not going in on that one. He is melee, so he's going to have to get far extended in that lane. Meteos can come and gank that mid lane pretty early here and turn it around for Hai. If Kassadin does get one of those early kills, then it's really hard to get him back under control.
And I actually wanted to ask you about the jungle matchup sort of early on here, Kobe. We've seen a lot of kind of different style of junglers, some more aggressive ones with Lee Sin and Elise, but all that's been really popular, and especially with Meteos' style, feels like we're going to have a little bit more farming here for both these junglers, and not necessarily as many ganks.
Now, I do like Vi's pre-6 gank one time, because a flash vault breaker is a very potent way to start out a gank. It's really, really hard for anyone in lane to avoid that, and they'll at least have to burn their flash. And if you end up landing it, then it's a huge chunk of damage that you get down with your gank first anyway. So Vi can at least have one really successful early gank before she hits level 6, and then obviously everyone always talks about the power of her ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Elise in the mid lane yesterday. Vi's mid lane ganks are pretty spectacular, especially once she hits 6. So I think we're going to look for Peke to probably get ahead early here in this lane, and then if Hai can get level 6 on Cassidy and start roaming, good things start to happen.
I think both teams are probably going to be focusing on the mid lane because it is so important in this matchup, especially these two players and champions that are going to be in the mid lane. Whichever one of them can get that early start will be able to roam and free up the rest of their team.
So let's go. We're getting back into the game now. Apologies for the short delay coming out here. What do you think of the duo lanes here as well? We've talked about lots of aggression, lots of all-inning happening. Do you think either one has a particular advantage?
So I would have said in the past, you know, Draven can stand up to Lucian, but since the change of the passive, he did lose a lot of that early damage, and so he's going to have to farm up for the beginning. And since Thresh is so good at interrupting Leona's early engages pre-6, you know, he can just flare back out of it. I feel like it's going to be a skill matchup with the supports. It's mostly on the supports here, and the ADs are just there to follow up on the plays that the supports make.
Yeah, and they've got two very aggressive supports. Seeing the blade actually onto Reckless. He's going to have to try and get up. Meteos coming up here as well. Good flash out there as well. And that is going to protect Fnatic. Lemon Nation forced to flash out there as Yellow Star. Very on point with the death sentence.
That's the danger as a jungler going for ganks on lanes that are already behind. Because Sneaky was so low before that gank was initiated, he could not commit to more damage. The wave was already shoved up to the turret, so even that 1 or 2 auto attacks that he got off on Reckless were answered by minion damage, and he could not fully commit. Even though they had the extra person there, they ended up having to back off.
So balls down towards the bottom and just farming things up here. Actually down in CS to Karma, believe it or not. But, you know, Karma's actually pretty good at pushing in lanes, as we found out.
Amazing early in the lane. She's a great lane bully. Jat's always pointing out how the support Karma can win your lane, you know, level 1 with a mantra Q, just shoving it right into people's faces. Soaz right there doing a good job. He did not hesitate to brawl early with the Shyvana. Not allowing balls to build up a creep wave. That's really how Shyvana gets most of her early power there, is getting the wave down very quickly with her area of effect, and then fighting inside the minion wave.
Meteos thinking about it here in top lane is Lemon Nation. Just going to take a couple of love taps there from Reckless, and you can see the aggression here towards the top. Lucian really trying to get in here, and actually Reckless opening up a nice CS lead up against Draven up there.
And that's really why Cloud9 were looking for that 2v1 switch, and why, you know, they were probably caught off guard by Fnatic picking it out. But Fnatic definitely knew they wanted this matchup, and they're doing a good job up there. Reckless showing up pretty well in this Battle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, Peke now up against Hai. Both of them hit level 6 here in the mid lane now as well, so could see even more fireworks. Cassidy probably going to start to be a little happier here in this lane because he's down about 20 CS so far.
Yeah, so I talked about it as soon as Fnatic started picking their champions, but you know, they picked all these lane bully champions. They're expecting to get a CS lead early in the game, but I didn't expect it to be this big of a CS lead. Yes, Lucian's amazing in lane, and he's a bit of a bully, so is Renekton. But they are really crushing both of their lanes. They're doing a very good job playing to the champions that they've picked.
Yeah, and there's about 500 or 600 gold just opened up from CS already here. It looks like we are going to find Lemon Nation here for Yellow Star. Reckless going to go in a good Death Center. Zenith Blade going to follow window, and now Sneaky going to try and get it done. And Lemon Nation really in the thick of things, taking a big chunk of damage. Just Sneaky now onto Reckless. The damage moving out. They lose him with the Q. Yellow Star moving in as well, and Sneaky kiting back and forth. Very nice with the axes, but Teleport is going to come in now as well. Lemon, Zenith Blade onto Reckless. So moving in, and that's a deadly owner. Oh, but no, Hai's over the side. He's going to get Reckless. A beautiful roam coming in there. Now Yellowstar also going to go. And Meteos also up and knocking him up. And Yellowstar very low. Maybe he can get out. Hai's coming in. The double kill comes in for Cassidy. And so has forced her on her way towards his tower.
And that was Hai roaming up. He just walked all the way to top lane. He didn't use his teleport. The only teleport was used by Soaz. So 2 people from Cloud9 collapsing definitely outbalanced the 1 teleport there from Fnatic. Peke took his time to shove 1 wave before heading up here, but he will get behind both Hai and Sneaky here. Going to be a very hard escape for them.
Yeah, the star solo landers from Fnatic moving it. Soas in trouble to Meteos. A beautiful gank there. Now Peke going to get Assault and batteried up. Renekton going to try and take him on 1v3, but Peke forced to go up towards his turret as Reckless rejoins the fight up towards the top lane.
That's the power of those flash vault breakers that I was talking about for the ganks there. Meteos coming out of left field there, able to clean up Soaz, and now Cloud9 are feeling much more comfortable, really able to turn the tides with the roam. It was just beautiful rotations from them right there, and Hai still has his teleport, so they still have another answer that they can use. If we have balls very deep in the jungle, trying to steal away minion camps, which he just got smited away there by Cyanide, so good job by Cyanide defending his jungle. But if Balls just drops a ward, then Hai can actually join him in those jungle invades, and they can make something happen on that blue side map, which is so important for that Fnatic team.
Yeah, it's just a nice bit of patience from Meteos. They're kind of waiting again, hoping somebody from Fnatic would walk back up. Hai now going to get donated the blue buff. That's going to give him way more power. 2-0-1 already for this Kassadin, and given that he looks like he's going for a Rod of Ages, he's going to be really happy to have that nice and early.
Right, so scaling up the Rod of Ages, not only does it give mana, but it also gives the health, which is the trade-off that you make when you skip off. Some people go with the tier, trying to upgrade that to the early Archangels and Seraph, but that you don't get your defense stat until you make it all the way to the Seraph's Embrace and get the shield. Whereas if you start out Rod of Ages, you've got early health.
Fnatic going to try and answer a couple of these early kills with a nice rotation down towards Dragon, actually. This is something we talk about all the time when we see 4 people up towards the top lane. It's often the first team that's able to rotate over that gets the first Dragon, and Fnatic, they are going to get it.
Yeah, they get the Dragon, but the champions in the game now are mostly around level 6, barely above it, so it's one of those low-level dragons that's not worth quite as much, and Sneaky is able to answer with the top turret, so it's not too much of a hit there for Cloud9. And they are able to get at least some more minions on Sneaky as well to get that Draven caught up. He needs to get those stacks for his passive, or else when he does land that kill, it's not going to be that influx of gold that he really needs since the change to the passive.
And that's something we've sort of seen as a trend throughout this weekend as well in this new patch, Kobe, is that, the standard Dragon back in Season 3 would have been around 10 minutes. And that's the timing we see here from Fnatic. It seems like with the way Dragon's been shifted around, maybe 13 to 15 minutes feels a little better in terms of the gold you get out of it. So it's interesting to see if the teams maybe can adapt to that, as Peke is going to take a little bit of damage, but he's out already.
Yeah, I think you always just have to think about what you are giving up for that Dragon, and, do you still want to make that trade? This one came out about even, so, well played by both teams there, I think.
Yeah, Cloud9 about 800 gold up here, and this one is Balls and Lemonation going to defend down towards the bottom. A 3-man push from Fnatic, as Soaz is joined by the duo lane there as well, but looks like they're just going to go back. Nope, never mind. Reckless walks off. He's trying to trick me. And Balls has held his tower quite well, given all the pushing that Soaz started with here.
Yeah, Siobhan is extremely good, at clearing minion waves. And it looks like Sneaky returning up to top to get some more CS. It was Cyanide who was the one who got that nice minion wave, which is going to be great for their team. They need 2 diving champions here. Cyanide and Peke have to be buddies, as the common term is, I guess. They're going to want to be sped up by that Karma. So coming out of the jungle, Cyanide's going to need a little bit of lane farm to be able to match the tankiness that Peke has, so they're sort of on the same level.
Cyanide trying to be a little tricky, moving around the mid lane, is down the bottom again. Fnatic continuing to push, a good play from Yellowstone, a solo play, landing just enough as the box comes in as well. Now Soaz going to get Assault and batteries as Reckless pops on the culling, and that's a very dead Karma. Yellowstar may be in trouble as well.
That is exactly the picture of why I said Thresh is only a soft counter to Leona and not a hard counter. Able to get the flay off, but they still got the stun. Here's the rotation from Cyanide though, and Ghost.
Cyanide coming in, that's Reckless picking up balls. Yellowstar actually with the kill, and now onto Lemon Nation as well. Beautiful presence of mind from Cyanide to go on this kill, and send Leona looking like she's in trouble, is indeed, and Cyanide's going to clean out that one as well.
No wards there in the river for Cloud9. Cyanide comes right down, pops the Ghost and Ragnarok. Really good job cleaning up those 2 kills for Fnatic, bringing them right back into this one.
Soaz actually popping his teleport towards the top lane as well as Hai here. Going to find Peke, who pops Dominus as a counter. But Hai, you can see Kassadin kind of struggling early on, still a little behind in CS, but the lane's so much better for Kassadin now.
Yeah, around 20 CS, 30 CS even is not that bad for being behind on Kassadin, since he got a successful roam off and he was able to go top and get those 2 kills. getting off to that early start, really going to get him right into the spot that he wants to be, going towards mid-game, where he can make use of his mobility to chase down people.
Oh, Meteor's great. Vault breaker there. High as well. Real flash forward for the pulse. And that's going to be yet another kill. Meteor's everywhere today.
Yeah, you can tell he's a fan of the flash vault breaker as well. One of my favorite moves right there. And High doesn't hesitate to capitalize on it. It's one of the best things about having a Kassadin mid lane post level 6. He will capitalize on your gank. As a jungler, you won't have to feel bad that your mid laner's not in position, because Kassadin will follow up on that.
Yep, I like that Olaf's able to get blues here as well for Fnatic, which we just saw. Asana picked that one up because Renekton doesn't really need it, and so as he would like it, but he's a little too far away probably to get it. And as you mentioned yesterday, Kobe, when you can undertow farm, you really power through as Olaf.
There are so many junglers that benefit from extra blue buffs. Oh, Sneaky's taking so many shots.
He's in a lot of trouble. Death sentence not quite going to hit, as they will flash out of there.
Olaf is definitely one of them. Udyr as well, definitely become just almost different champions with the blue buff on. It helps them so much, it's ridiculous. So whenever they have a mid laner that doesn't need it, it's really, really helpful.
You can see the Rod of Eight is finished up now for High as well. Fantastic timing on that item. Probably had it at around 14 minutes or earlier, so he'll be nice and charged up right on time there. AD carry builds look pretty similar between these two as well, so nothing major going on there. CS pretty even. And credit to our balls actually as well, really caught up on CS.
Yeah, and he was able to just barely steal away that red too, because Soaz was playing safe and not face checking into that bush recklessly. It allowed Balls just the extra second that he needed to grab that red away.
And Peke going a little more aggressive here with the Hex Drinker on his Renekton, which of course helps him given that he was in the mid lane. There for that one, Giant Spell moving through as well, probably looking for a Sunfire cape. And just in general, item build's really coming out here, and I actually like Balls here with a very cost-efficient tank build.
Yeah, Shyvana, like we just saw him, making the invades into red. She loves shoving the lane and then grabbing extra gold from the jungles, which enables her to get tanky extremely quickly. Balls going for that, Spirit Vision Sunfire combo.
Yellow Star popping the box there. Soulfire's going to hit onto Cyanide, but it's so high. Coming down as well with the teleport, and Sneaky picks up one kill there on Draven. Cyanide popped the ult, trying to chase him down, but High's just back and forth here, poking as much as he can, and Reckless maybe got to be a little careful.
High has been doing so well with his roaming and his use of teleports. It's really beautiful to see. I'm glad that they are coordinating their aggressive moves well. They always wait until they know that they have one trick left in the bag before going extremely aggressive down bottom.
Yeah, going to push down this turret now as well. So 2-1 in turrets for C9. Yeah, the minions are going to clean that one out. So almost 3,000 gold ahead by Cloud9. And we've seen teams, when they get an early small lead, Kobe, if they're experienced, and certainly Cloud9 are, they're able to kind of close out the game. And you mentioned something yesterday I thought was so relevant about really controlling a game.
Right, so the dragon, yes, this is the second dragon, so it's worth even more than the first one. And I talked about what are you giving up for these dragons that you're getting in the early game. Cloud9 did not have to lose any map pressure, any objective for that dragon. So that was a clean win for them right there. Also, we got to shout out Meteos while we're at it here. He's been making the ganks extremely effective. He only goes for them when he's got flash or his ulti.
Yeah, it's got to be careful. Peke diving in there, Balls running defense there, but 4 members of Fnatic looking to push down this mid lane. Reckless coming in to join them as well.
All right, so back to Meteos. He's been making very effective ganks, but he's also, I like the build here, it's half damage, half tanky. He hasn't gone full Elder Lizard plus Black Cleaver like solo queue he definitely favors. He does have the Elder Golem right there, Spirit of the Elder Golem instead of the Elder Lizard. So he's got some extra health and he has the tenacity to stick in the fight.
And no real surprise, Meteos level 11, tying up with most of the solo laners here in this game. So clearly still happy here in the new preseason jungle, still able to farm up. But you're right, his presence around this map has been absolutely awesome so far early on in this one.
So going a little bit deeper on those items that I just talked about, part of the reason why those are both amazing on Vi is because they both have cooldown reduction. Aside from the other combat stats that she likes, cooldown reduction is just amazing on Vi, because not only does she want to proc her Denting Blows passive from auto attacks, but also her abilities apply it, and getting the cooldown on those increases her damage multiplicatively.
Yep, so it's as well. Kind of curious to see what he wants to build, but looks like straight AP for him. going to be going for Rabadon. I think you've mentioned it about a million times this weekend, but you know, you want pure damage, you just go Void Stuff, you go Rabadon. I think that's where Karma's going, but Fnatic coming in once again here onto the mid lane. Death Sentence will land on the Sneaky. That could be the follow-up there. Damage moving in his Meteor. Dunks on the Pekka. Great Solar Flow follow-up as well. And now Ball's in the mix with Shabana. Now he's going to flash forward there. High also coming around to play cleanup here. Silencer's Reckless actually with a Null Spear, slowing out Cyanide and Yellow Star. He's kind of caught off in the wrong place here. Ball's going to be able to chase him off. Flay coming through as well. Speed up from Soaz maybe enough.
They're still chasing!
Yeah, High is still coming. Caston almost never ever has to run away. But Yellowstar makes it around the turret. High though picks up the kill.
All right, Caston finally able to chase him down there. We all talked about the mobility of that Caston in the very beginning. High finally able to at least make sure they get one kill out of that, even though they weren't able to finish off Peke. Taking down Yellowstar was huge because they have at least the map control and then get some damage on the turret. I
mean, not just the kill, Kobe, they took the outer turret in mid, and now they're onto their tier 2 here as well. Peke trying to defend 3v1, maybe thinks about it again as now Cyanide's rotating through. I think they're going to be able to finish this up. The Draven DPS really coming in, and that's 2 turrets and a kill for Cloud9.
Right, so they get the kills, but then they also are able to grab the objective after. So really well played, and Cloud9, they just look like a completely different team here. They're also controlling the vision after they take that deep objective. Look at these wards that they just left. I love placing wards right outside of the enemy's base so that you can see their movements and what they're planning to do in the future.
Yep, a little bit of a scare there for High, but he's able to riff walk on out of there, so not too worried. Lamination coming into support as well on that Leona, and looks like Static Shift is going to be the next one out here for Sneaky. We've seen a lot of Static Shift this week, and I think AD carry is really starting to favor that a little more than the old Phantom Dancer.
I'm a big fan of the item. I like the flashy nature of it, but also just because it gives you area of effect damage on your AD carry, so it helps them clear waves a bit quicker. And if you want to feed extra minion waves to your AD carry, then you can send them down to pick that up alone, and they can clear it much quicker. Balls with the juke!
That's a good death sentence there from Yellowstar. Balls 1v4. Dragon's Descent out, trying to get away if he can, but he's pretty much forced to stand a fight here. Nowhere to go, and Cyanide's going to take him out. Oh, Sneaky though.
Right, he's been caught, but the rest of Cloud9 were notified that he was being chased by the entire team of Fnatic very early, and so they pushed both the middle and the bottom lanes here. Sneaky is now at the point that he does not have to fear the 1v1 combat there from Reckless.
The Draven DPS on that turret as well. It was almost reminiscent of Zion's Nasus from yesterday. He just chunking down towers. High, got to be a little careful here, but the rest of Cloud9 are into support.
So High has his teleport up, and Meteos has his flash and his ulti up. We're probably going to see a gank out from him early because he has not been sitting on those cooldowns for very long. Meteos, pretty much as soon as he does have those tools available, has been looking for kills.
Yep, so Dragon going to be back up in a minute here as well. Actually tied on Dragons, I believe, with Fnatic taking an early one first and Cloud9 getting us later one after that for the second. So next Dragon could be a point of contention here, but Cloud9 with their advantage right now just really seem to want to take control of this map, Kirby.
And that death cap is completed for Karma here. So Soaz is bringing the magic damage that this Fnatic team needs to the fights, and it makes sure that Cloud9 can't just ignore magic resist and fully stack armor here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lead here for Cloud9 for sure, but it's only 5,000 gold here. That's not too bad early on in this game as Reckless. Going to pick up whatever CS he can, building up towards his Static Shift, as it looks like Sneaky has finished up his for now. Need to see Large Rod here for Cassidon. High, probably going to be going for a Zhonya's Hourglass, I would have to think. But you never know.
Yeah, he could go for that another defensive item here. And Cassidy don't have to go full offense, but really, since he is looking to split push a lot with that teleport, he has so many options open to him.
Lemonation going to find Yellowstar. Great play there, but High's going to come in. The burst damage from Caston is absolutely massive. And there's the flash up from Yellowstar. Lemonation caught by the death sentence. Going to get snared up here by Karma as well. The damage moving in a good flash up, but Reckless able to clean it out as High gets himself out of the way, almost snags a kill.
He wanted to go back in there. He was hoping Yellowstar would just creep a couple inches forward, but he never did. And he ended up having to leave Lemon Nation behind.
Credit to Yellowstar. Oh, Peke has actually found Sneaky, who flashes out Meteor, finding someone there. He's having to find him, and Sneaky gets a kill, the ultimate there. Now the teleport coming in for High as well. Cyanide, not Meteor. He's going to get the kill onto Cyanide, excuse me, as Peke is now in an awful lot of trouble. Nowhere to go. Sneaky DPS moving in. Double kill for Meteor.
Again, Meteor's coming from off the screen, just dunks Soaz here. Sneaky gets the flash off as the stun comes in, and That is just a brutalizer on Meteos, holding Soaz in place for Sneaky's ultimate to hit him at the exact same time. And now High, with the teleport in, is able to also clean up Peke. A huge win for Cloud9 that initially looked like Sneaky getting caught out. Those are the cooldowns I talked about. Meteos and High not sitting on for very long. Used right there, very reactively, but perfectly played.
Ballsy now going to push up towards the top, and I think you guys could hear the crowd. They're pretty happy for Cloud9 right now. I love the instant Baron call there as well. Snapped it off as soon as they got those kills and took it very, very quickly. So all of a sudden, we're getting close to 10,000 gold in the lead here for Cloud9, and that's a big lead here at 24 minutes.
They've been performing extremely well. You talked about the lack of hesitation there. They're very decisive right after the kills, going right for the objectives. And then they also haven't been giving up, haven't been slacking on their vision. So every time each member is roaming deep into either side of the jungle, they're dropping off their own wards inside. And all of the burden is not on Elimination right now. Everybody is doing their part.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how good Cloud9's vision looked already. I have to agree, they've been warding spectacularly here on this preseason patch. Vision got changed pretty significantly since the last 2 times he's played. I have to highlight Meteos right now, though, because we kind of mentioned he likes to farm a lot, likes to go carry mode. Something pretty spicy cooking there for Meteos' item build.
All right, so if you haven't played on North American server, you haven't run into Meteos' Black Cleaver and Trinity Force Vi, maybe. It's very popular now because it's so fun to play Vi when she has that much damage, and it's sort of Meteos' new fascination.
Yeah, and he's definitely going for the Trinity Force right now. I assume it's a product of, well, never mind, Meteos. He's going to put that damage to good use. Soaz getting 1v1 to Cyanid's in trouble as well. A nice bolt breaker there. Going to knock him back in. Olaf getting towered over Peke. We're coming now to try and save him. High's up the top here, though. It's 3v2 as Meteos gets the double kill. Can he make it 3 years? Peke's going to go out as well. And he does make the triple. There's Thresh going down as well. And Reckless, the only one left alive. Cloud9 almost finishing an ace on either side of the map.
They've almost got the ace, and they definitely have the inhibitor here. There's the surrender. Respect from Fnatic.
25.5 minutes there, Kobe, and Cloud9. They said they wanted to show up and get revenge. That's an amazing performance. Listen to that crowd.
There is so much respect between these two teams. Right there, Cloud9 performed so well for the entire early game and into the mid game that Fnatic